Okay, we are going to take a look at some examples of calculating recruiting costs and hiring costs. Alright, so here's our first example. It talks about David's Flooring, and they're hiring a new national distribution manager for an annual salary of $145,250. The advertising costs are $1,250. The interview costs total $510.24, and the recruiter fee was 15% of the first year's salary. What is the total cost of hiring this distribution manager? Well, we need to add those costs together. We want to total them. Okay, so first we have our advertising costs of $1,250 plus our interview costs, which were $510.24, plus our recruiting fee. Now notice we need to do a little work here because it's 15% of the first year's salary. When you're multiplying percents, the first thing you want to do is change them to a decimal by moving the decimal 2 places to the left. So we're going to be taking 0.15 instead of 15. It's 15% of the first year's salary, which they said the annual salary was $145,250. Okay, so there's our setup. Let's go ahead and do some calculating. The first thing we're going to have to do is figure out what 15% of the salary is. So go ahead and use a calculator or by hand and do 0.15 times 145,250, and I get $21,787.50. Okay, now all we have to do is add all of those together. So we take that $21,787.50, we add 1,250 and $510.24, and we come up with $23,547.74 is the total for the hiring for this distribution manager. Okay, here's our second example. The company was looking for a vice president of marketing. Advertising expenses totaled, so here we have some advertising again, $1,450. And interviewing expenses, including travel for the finalist, were $1,655. They ended up hiring Stefan, and hiring expenses for him were $2,850 in moving costs to get him them, and 7% realtor's fee. Now his home sold for $245,490. What's the total recruiting cost to the nearest cent? Okay, so really to find a total, you just total all the values. We do have to do a little work with this 7% here, but the others are pretty straightforward. We have the 1,450, the 1,655, and the 2,850. Whoops, that's supposed to be a plus sign there. Plus the cost for the realtor's fee. Now it was 7%, which again, when you do percents, move that 2 places to the left, replacing a blank with a 0. So we have down here 0.07 times the price of the house. Okay, so again, from here, we calculate what that percent would come out to. So we take the 0.07 times the 245,000, and that gives us 17,184.30. So we're totaling, again, we have all of these original values, plus we've calculated the percent, and it came out to, like I said, $17,184.30, and then we just add those together. and I get $23,139.30. Here we go again. Here's Brooklyn, New York. They're a marketing agency, and they're looking for an account executive. Advertising expenses were more this time, $10,235. The final candidate's travel costs were $1,345. And hiring expenses included $3,400 in moving costs and a 5% realtor fee for a house that sold for $165,230. What is the total recruiting cost? So once again, we're doing the same type of problem we just did. We total the costs that we have. Okay, so we just write them all down as we go. And on the end, we have to calculate this 5% realtor fee. So move the decimal over 2 places to get 0.05. We get $165,230, and we go from there. All right, so we still have all of these original costs here. The $10,235, $1,345, and the $3,400, and we have this additional came to $8,261.50. Let's total those up, so just add them all together. All right, and we have $23,241.50. All right, so that is a few examples to help you with that workbook and eventually the checkpoint.